On today's episode, we're discussing
rage bait, doom scrolling, and managing our nervous system online. So this is a topic that I really wanted to speak about, and I kind of brought it to you a few weeks ago. I think it is so important right now when the internet has permeated every single aspect of our lives, and we are inundated with media, AI-driven media, influencers, and all of these things that are kind of bombarding us online. I think it's very important that we really examine how the internet is affecting our nervous system, how it's making us feel, how it's misleading us and tricking us and making us angry.
because I've dedicated so much of my career to helping people unravel and understand manipulation. I've realized how many people don't see the manipulation of advertisement, of media, of the way the social media algorithms work. I know you and I having the show, gosh, we're getting close to 9 years. In that time, we've really been forced to learn the manipulation of the algorithms and how really every algorithm out there runs on rage bait. It's been a real dilemma. When you see some of your favorite podcasters or content creators increasingly doing clickbaity things, it's because we are under this constant dilemma of how do we do this? If the algorithms work with outrage and pissing people off, creating controversy, how do we actually just have a conversation about anything when the algorithm wants what is salacious, what is poking people in hate and disdain and anger and fear, when everything about the work that I do and the work that we've done together on this show is about the opposite of all of that. I don't make people angry on purpose just to grow our brand. I teach people how to not be angry, how to choose life instead of stress. So it has been a real constant dilemma, because if we produce something, even this episode, and the algorithms don't like it, it means very few people listen to what we work so hard to put out.
Yeah.
And that matters to advertisers, that matters to us getting brand deals. It matters to us being able to fund the production costs of the show. And every content creator out there, unless they're independently wealthy, is having that struggle right now.
It's a dilemma. Yeah. We've had to kind of have a come to Jesus moment with the show and be like, all right, are we going to go down this route? And unequivocally, we've said, no, we're not going to go down this anger-inducing, rage-inducing route. Now, granted, you're going to see some of our titles and they're going to be a little bit, not shocking, but they're going to be a little bit clickbait. They're going to be like, ooh, I did this thing and look what happened, just because it creates curiosity. But
yes,
you have to be aware of the difference between something that piques a little bit of curiosity, like, I ate 5 burritos in a day and this is what happened. That's a clickbaity title, but it's not rage-inducing.
Right.
It's not fear-inducing. It's not, this item might be poisoning you in your home. Oh my God, I need to click on this right now. But we're never going to create things that drive fear and rage. And that is the trick nowadays with getting engagement. I really want people who aren't involved in content creation, our listeners, our fans, people watching this who may have found it, to understand that that is what is being taught to people in content creation now. That is what's being taught in marketing. It is the new hip thing. It is the new era of getting people to click your podcast or video or post or anything else. Rage bait is kind of a catch-all term for something that you see online that was intentionally created or maybe unintentionally created that makes you angry or nervous or gives you a fear response or makes you panic in some way.
It puppet masters your emotions and your nervous system. And I don't know if it's chicken or the egg. I don't know what came first. I don't know if we could ever know. They play off of each other. But I don't know if the activism that's so rageful these days jumped onto social media and then became more rageful. I don't know if social media made it rageful. It's like they dance with each
I think
other.
they both kind of started going, and then one group realized, and then another group caught up, and then another one realized. It's like trends and memes with anything.
Well, and the thing is that we're principled, and I think there's so many people, maybe generations of people, that might not even really understand what that means. It was a big part of my childhood with my grandparents, was that they had a real drive to instill principles in us. Now, I've had to grow up and reevaluate, what principles do I want to take forward? Which ones do I want to leave behind that don't resonate with me, that I don't think are healthy or useful to me? But basically, this rage baiting stuff has tested our principles. And because we're a brand that prides itself on its principles, to be honest, to be as authentic and transparent as we can be, to do healthy things into the world and never be a force for what is dysfunctional ever, our principles basically protect our decision making as a team. So I have those principles. Chris has those principles. Liv, who does a lot on our team, has those principles, and we all hold each other to those principles. You have to understand, you are watching so much content creation that is absolutely devoid
of all principles.
And what does that do if you can't really spot it? So we wanted to talk today about how to spot this, how to basically stay on your toes without walking on eggshells, about what this does when we're inundated, when this content is puppet mastering and pulling the strings of your heart, your mind, your nervous system, and making you fearful of whatever the other side is. Because without an other sideness to this rage baiting, it can't go anywhere. It needs the oppositional forces of two dynamics in fight, in opposition. The gays against the straights, right? The blacks against the whites. Like
the Republicans against the Democrats.
Yes,
that's the biggest thing online right now, is creating some type of divisions.
And you feel it, right? Yeah. It's that feeling of, if you all of a sudden start to feel your nervous system activated. Most of you who tune in have had a lifetime of survival. And if you are going to be in integrity in terms of your healing, in terms of really doing what your body, your mind, your heart, your gut needs, so that you can stabilize and leave survival mode so that you can thrive, you have to have boundaries and discernment around this online content creation that tries to do anything but heal your nervous system. It wants your nervous system activated. It's the same for if you're feeling your nervous system start to activate towards a panic attack. Online may raise your nervous system, may activate you. You may feel your heart rate starting to increase. You may feel yourself starting to breathe more shallowly. You may feel your thoughts start to race and spin. You may feel that impulse of wanting to react, of wanting to fight back. You feel all of that. And in healing and self-development, we learn to observe ourselves at this micro level. We want to observe the nuance because we want to catch things when they're at a level 1, 2, and 3. If we don't, then we are participating in letting our own systems be brought to 8, 9, 10. And 8, 9, 10 means panic. It means meltdown. It means lashing out. It may mean raging. And then after your nervous system comes back down, then we have to deal with the fallout, the embarrassment, the confusion. Why did I act that way? That's not how my calmly grounded nervous system wants me to be in this world. Those are not my principles in action, to be calm and to listen and to inspire instead of to insult. So this is really an important piece in modern life. If you have childhood trauma, if you're healing from narcissistic relationships, so that you're not letting this internet take your nervous system for a hellish ride.
Yeah. And I think the most important thing is to recognize that initial anger or nervous trigger. Like, everyone's got it.
The word is hook. It hooks you. And if you can notice where it hooks your mind or your heart or some sort of activism cause that you're specifically passionate about, you have to know that they're trying to hook you. That's
and
step one.
They are trying.
Yes.
They've released that video with the intention of getting maximum engagement and driving maximum division and getting maximum anger out of you. I've got my own personal tells. Like, I recognize now, I wasn't able to do this a couple of years ago, didn't even realize it was happening a couple of years ago as this short form content kind of took hold. I'll make a sound. I will be scrolling on my phone and I'll go, one of those, or
Yep, the sigh or the angry
the
grunt.
Iacono sigh, we call it in my family. That,
Yes, y'all are sighers for sure.
We are sighers, and that is my tell that I'm frustrated or angry or nervous in some way. And if you notice those tells in your regular life, you have to begin picking up on them while you're going through this rage bait content. When you're doing that scrolling, the platforms know that anger and nervous inducing content will get you to stay on the app longer. Even if it's pissing you off, your brain is somehow seeking out that feeling again, and you will stay. It could be 3 minutes longer, it could be 10 minutes longer, however their metrics measure it, but they are going to continue feeding you that content. If it was bunny rabbits and hearts that kept people on the platform longer, that's what you would see. Turns out, human psychology, we are geared towards anger, we're geared towards nervousness, we're geared towards, and maybe you can speak to the psychology behind this as to why that keeps us engaged longer, but that's what it is.
Yes, because on paper that sounds crazy, right? That sounds like, why would a human being, all of us collectively, why would we operate where we are looking at the problem, where we are looking at what the struggle is, at where we're paying attention to what angers or frightens us? Here's the psychology of that. If we go back to the idea of caveman days,
Sure.
Okay, early humanity, we were legitimately living in an actual survival mode, not because of someone's manipulative abuse, not because of gaslighting, but because surviving was legitimately so difficult. You couldn't go down to the corner store, right? Everything was on you, your family's shoulders, your tribe's shoulders. And so to survive all of that as a species, the human had to develop to be on guard, to be somewhat hypervigilant about, what could go wrong? Are those dark clouds coming in? How strong is that storm going to be? Are there predators coming? Do we have enough food? Do we have enough sticks for the fire? We had to really be in an ongoing survival mode. As we have gotten more comfort in life, that doesn't help us out.
Yeah.
And this is the very psychology that, because most of us don't have to plow the fields, most of us don't have to be so on guard for a predator that we are like guarding the front door of our homes, with weapons and booby traps, because we have a lot of comfort. We couldn't sit back and doom scroll if we were actually really surviving something. So because of this comfort, it's as if modern companies, modern politics, anything that is making money through the algorithms is just playing on the human condition in this way. Now that we're through COVID, I am hoping that people can be out of their feelings. We were all certainly thrust into our feelings during everything COVID, but now that we're through it, I'm hoping people can, in a grounded, calm way, really reflect and really fine-tune and hone their own principles. I got a lot of flack back then for saying, hey, I don't put new science into my body until it is very trialed out and tested. I don't do that as a principle, and no amount of fear makes me go against that principle. I'm going to wait as long as I can. Unless this was airborne Ebola, I was unwilling to take that shot and put it into my body. Now we have so much evidence that there's a lot of problems with those shots, right? And so I really hope that people can objectively, wherever you were in that, whether you were sort of on, my way of thinking, or whether you were on your own and thought everyone should definitely be forced to be vaccinated, whatever you thought there, I hope that you can reevaluate from this perspective of being grounded to reflect on what does fear make you do?
Yes.
Because when we are in fear, y'all probably understand this and know this from your experience inside of your own body or from being a listener for a long time. When we are in fear, we are in a nervous system response, and we are designed to not think when we are in that much fear. So if I look up and you're chasing me, if you're running at me with a hatchet, my fear is supposed to kick in, so I just run away from you, most likely, or if you get to me, so that I have adrenaline pumping in my body so that I can fight you for my life. If I can think, I'm liable to be hurt. So if I can slow down and think, gee, why is Bob running at me with a hatchet? By the time I think through my logical and grounded thoughts, he's conked me in the head with a hatchet. I'm done for. So we are really designed, when we're in that nervous system response, to almost go offline in our thinking and just react. That's a very interesting perspective to sit in this moment and look back. And it will only be very mature people who can sit and reflect and truly evaluate, am I 100% cool with myself on how I thought through that? Mm-hmm. Okay. What I did actionably, what I said to other people, does some of that need some adjustment? Is this a time when I want to get my own personal priorities and principles and morals and values, really honed in on and defined for whatever the next time is that I am put into fear, either in my own small family system or in our huge human family, like what happened in COVID.
Yeah, and I want to speak specifically to that fear response that we have, because this is an excuse that I used to use when I was more fearful in general and more anxious in general about the state of the world, or what was going on with COVID, or what's going on in politics now, or what's going on with the country or in the world, or this, that, the other thing. When we're afraid, we seek out answers to why we're afraid, to whether or not we should be afraid. Should I be more afraid? That's a big one. Am I worried enough? And you may not be conscious of all of these motivators, but they're there. One of the excuses I used to use for why I would consume all this fearful media was, I need to be informed. Mm-hmm. I need to know what's going on. Yeah. Let me address that from a Stoic perspective. No, I don't need to be informed to that degree. I need a kind of quick, high-level overview of things. And if the shit ever hits the fan, I will find out about it in some other way. Because the tendency is to find a little bit of info, find a little bit more bit of info, a little more, a little more, a little more, a little more. Next thing you know, you've been doom scrolling for an hour. You've lost your whole night to consuming fear-driven content. And typically, you're not much more informed than you were before. But at this point, you're now emotionally exhausted. And when you're emotionally and exhausted and your nervous system is burnt out, you're more susceptible to lies and influential media that you're now consuming online.
I have something to add to that, a bit of a different angle. So I've been doing this almost 20 years. And the first 10 years counseling people, I never would have said this. But with what's happened online and politically, I have. I'm in my mid-40s. We were raised to take so much pride in being informed. And that's a holdover from Walter Cronkite type era, where people had a lot of trust in the media and a lot of pride in being informed and all of us being informed. But the more modern truth is that we're not informed anymore. We're manipulated.
Yes.
So if we're not making that switch to, well, I want to be informed. Informed of what? Informed of your heartstrings being pulled? Yeah. Informed to where you're more scared than you were before you picked up your phone and scrolled. You're not being informed with anything that is useful
or helpful. And that's the key Stoic point here. You may now know more information after this hour of doom scrolling. Your nervous system's activated, but guess what? You're not able to change any of those things that you just learned.
So it makes you feel powerless.
Powerless, yes. So a big thing in Stoicism is focusing on what is in your locus of control.
Yes.
And not things outside of that. That is very key. And if you just consumed a bunch of stuff that made you fearful, made you angry, made you rageful, you can't act on it. If I'm watching videos about a tsunami happening in Thailand, okay, I'm going to feel horrible for the entire night. Maybe I can make a little donation, but that's it. That's all I can do. I've now consumed all this media and I can truly do nothing about it. Big difference when we're talking globally versus, hey, I'm on Nextdoor and there's a bear at my neighbor's house and I need to make sure my garbage pails are in.
Mm-hmm.
Big difference. At that point, information is great, but 98% of the time, it's information that you cannot act on, that doesn't directly affect you in any way, and is just going to make you feel more out of control.
So that's a good self-checking question to not get rage baited.
Yeah.
When you're taking in information, what can I actually do about this? What can I actually do to be effective here? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is going to be nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
And then it leads us down a thinking path of, well, if I can do nothing about it, or if the most I can do is get online and donate to some sort of organization. Okay, after that, what now? So I've had an addiction specialty all these years. What I was taught about addiction is not what I believe today. I believe there's so much that is just in the human condition that we are creatures that can be addicted to almost anything. Okay. And information in this day and age is its own little hit
of dopamine.
Of information. And so I want people to know, like, it's not a dirty secret. We need to know this to protect ourselves. We need to know this to protect kids that we are part of the tribe and raising. But when information feels like a little cocaine hit, a shot of alcohol, we have to understand and guide ourselves away from that becoming an addiction where you just pick your phone up and get a hit of something that is intense, right? Like a tsunami is intense. Getting a hit of tsunami information is going to hit your system. It's going to give you more of that drug-like feeling than garbage men pick up 10,000 tons in this neighborhood every single week. Okay, like that doesn't give you as much hit. And so we need to know that this intensity of being aware of every horrible thing that is happening in real time across the entire planet is what I'm naming drama addiction.
Mm-hmm. That brings me to another key point about the type of content that we're consuming online. And this is commonly referred to as the parasocial outrage cycle. Think about those words together. Paranormal, outside of normal, outside of social.
Mm-hmm.
So what it means, and you've all seen these videos, okay? Now I'm not going to pick any sides here. I'm going to both sides this and say I've seen crazy opinions, absolutely batshit, oh my God, that's a horrible, awful opinion come from both sides of the political aisle, both sides of the social aisle, and everything in between. What happens online is these opinions that might be absolutely nuts and are intentionally and deliberately rage-inducing. Those opinions at their core really only make up a very sliver of the actual opinion out there. So somebody may say something super inflammatory and it makes you mad. In fact, that horrible opinion is really only held by about 0.0001% of people out there. However, when you watch this video, because it's so rage-inducing, the video has 10 million views.
Mm-hmm.
The video has got 10,000 comments on it. And the video was taken from some other video that had no views and no traction. Somebody saw it and was like, oh, that's rage-inducing. Let me put it on my big channel. So you see this video that's awful, terrible opinion. You see all of these comments. You see all of these views. And your brain thinks falsely that opinion is way more popular and way more accepted than it actually is, simply because you're looking at the rage metrics on it as opposed to its actual popularity.
And you'll never see, like, there might be 3 people that post with that just insane and infuriating commentary. But you're not going to see the maybe 100,000 content creators that put something out there that was more moderate.
Yes.
So it's pushing not just society into these extremes, it's pushing our thinking and our feelings inside of each of us into more extremes inside of each of us. This is what I want you to step up for yourself and protect yourself from, guide yourself through with a whole lot of grounded wisdom instead of emotional reaction. I bet a lot of our listeners don't know about dead internet theory.
Oh,
can you speak to that?
Yeah. So dead internet theory is a commonly accepted theory about the status of humans versus bots on the internet. And this theory is not new. This is not a new theory that started with AI. This theory has been around for 10, 15 years. So even before we had ChatGPT and these AI models, we had bot farms. And this goes back to almost the inception of the internet when people wanted to make things look more popular or get more views. Bot farms are giant computer networks that drive up views or drive up comments and drive up engagement without it being an actual person. Like you can, let's say you wanted your video on YouTube to look a lot more popular than it actually is. You can go hire somebody in another country and they'll run their computer bot farm on your video and you'll get 10,000 views overnight. They'll all be robots, but you'll get 10,000 views overnight. Oh, you want a bunch of comments on your thing? Hire somebody, pay $100 and you've got 10,000 comments on that video. They're all bots. They're not real. Dead internet theory is what I believe is way more accurate now, is the theory that the overwhelming majority of traffic online right now is not human traffic. And I believe that. That is a theory that I have recognized and I've started to see online. When you see a lot of comments that are all very similarly worded or multiple different accounts posting basically the same sentence, you're like, this is a bot farm. This is no big conspiracy here. This is done by corporations. It's done by governments. It's done by whoever wants to make a thing look more popular or push an agenda online. If you're a corporate entity and you just got sued for something and you want to sway public opinion, you might hire one of these robot AI farms now to flood the comments section of videos that are criticizing you, to do PR work. It's part of PR now. So dead internet theory is the theory that most of the traffic you're witnessing online is not even real.
And I've always hoped doing this show that you can learn from the work that we're doing more so than just the intended message that we put out. If you go look on our YouTube, and yes, we're always trying to grow. So if you get on YouTube, like find our channel, subscribe to it, it'll help us grow and reach more people. But you can go into the videos from short videos to longer videos, and you can start to see that there are bot farms that are just flooding, trying to create disdain, outrage, dissonance. The ones that I see the most on my videos of me are ones that go, oh yeah, right. Like it's like they're stoking the fires of sexism, when I believe in our society, we have done better than ever before. Like, I'm a woman who runs her own company. I can say whatever I need to say. I have made decisions to not have children in this life. Like there's no freedom that a man has that I don't have today in America. I have to take what I want, like a man might take what they want if I want to play with the big boys and be considered equal. But you can see this in our comments. Things like, oh yeah, that's a woman for you. Or, oh yeah, I get accused of being a leftist woman a lot by these bots, because I'm talking about feelings and taking care of yourself and wellness. And that online is considered more of a leftist thing than a rightist thing. So you can see the political bot farm engines using our content to try to make people upset in the comments. And you'll see people fall for it. It's part of why I wanted to do this episode. You'll see people sometimes defend me in the comments like, no, she doesn't think that. That's not how she is. Sometimes when I see that, I get on and I say, hey, don't waste your energy. These are just AI bots that
yeah.
are just stoking this anger, frustration, and making the masses think that there's this big giant sexism we still have to fight. And of course, we're always going to have some of that in the population. But I implore you to let yourself see not just through a lens of fear and upset. Start taking that lens off and start looking through, wow, what's good? Wow,
Exactly.
how many women have graduated college in the last 20 years? Wow, what are the choices that American women have to really have whatever life they want? That was the goal of feminism.
Right. And that's the thing. Once you start to recognize these patterns in content, you can't unsee it. It's like the veil has been lifted. Now when you're looking at titles and thumbnails and what the hook is when they start, you're instantly going to be able to recognize, oh, they're pointing to the absolute worst thing. They're pointing to those bad data points and never really celebrating the good stuff, which just doesn't get as much engagement.
Yes. So here's the big tip to take care of your nervous system. If you find yourself rage baited, Chris talked about his tell. My tell is that I feel myself forming the response. And if I want to just type out a quick response, that's my tell to take a deep breath. And I still may respond, but there's a big difference between responding from that flood of emotions and cortisol and adrenaline in the body versus waiting till that subsides and then forming a response from your calm, grounded self. That will give you a chance to evaluate, is this worth my time? Is this worth my energy? Why am I spending my life force screaming into the void here?
Like, I need to tell that person online about that thing. No, I don't.
Yes.
I don't need to do that.
That means you've been rage baited. And so we get to have more discernment and more emotional boundaries, more pauses to breathe and come back to our highest self. I want your wise woman or your wise man responding, not your rage baited ego or nervous system that's activated. I hope that helps.
It will. I want to end this segment with 5 practical strategies and tips that you can do for harm reduction with online content like this. Okay. And they are time boxing, curating, the 48-hour rule, physical boundaries, and replacing instead of just restricting. And I'm going to quickly go through these and we'll comment on them. Number 1 is time boxing. Okay. This means you say to yourself and you stick to it, I am only going to check that app between this hour and this hour. And you stick to it. You can time box in multiple ways. You can just simply turn the phone off for that amount of time. There are apps out there you can download that will actually restrict you opening the app between those hours, worth the $2 they cost. You'll make that up in one day of your time productivity back and say, nope, I can only access Instagram for between 8 and 9, or I may only access Instagram for 30 minutes per day, and it keeps a timer going for you.
So the point of this is that you want to maintain control of when you're going to go to the internet. I suggest turning off all notifications because you want to be in control of deciding this is a time and space where my phone or the internet gets my attention instead of the algorithms and the tech pinging you. That takes your own autonomy away. That takes your own power and control over your own self and your own life. This is also why anyone today who will go get an evaluation for ADD will likely be told that they have it. Because we have a device that takes us out of the moment and distracts us all damn day long. So we need to enact more control over that device so we maintain control in our lives instead of this device controlling us.
Next one is curate ruthlessly. This is actively unfollowing, muting, blocking, and ignoring, key point, the things that you are recognizing that are making you mad. My Reddit feed, okay, I'm a big Reddit guy, about 3 months ago, was full of nothing but rage-inducing political world event, like just absolute garbage. And I realized it was because I had engaged with those posts in some way by reading them. And then Reddit went, oh, he read that post about that thing. Show him more stuff. That's like that thing. That's how that algorithm works.
It becomes a waterfall.
A waterfall effect. So what I've done that's helped me is I recognize that's rage inducing. That's clickbait. That's divisive. Immediately unfollow, block. Unfollow the page, unfollow the sub, unfollow the person, block them, mute them immediately. After about a month, my Reddit feed now is only full of pizza recipes, financial advice, board game and Dungeons and Dragons stuff, woodworking and hobbies, hiking, backpacking, and other things. Because I blocked all that other stuff. The algorithm picked up that I was blocking it, and I intentionally engaged with the hiking content and the pizza making content instead.
This will be a particular challenge for certain people that are recovering codependents, because as goofy as this sounds, and I've been there too, we hold space for a lot of people as highly sensitive people. And even when we know in our heads, this person online does not know me personally, they don't need me holding space for them so much. I'm allowed to unfollow. I'm allowed to block. Blocking somebody feels very harsh to a highly sensitive person. So I encourage you to make this a personal challenge, to let this be easy and simple. And it's as simple as this post from this creator was upsetting to me in a way that is not useful to my life at all. Block, mute, unfollow, let it be swift and simple. Believe it or not, that is an emotional strength training muscle that you can build, and it will help you flow more, not just online, but in life. When you have to say no, or that's not for me, we need that to be simple, and we need that to be a strong muscle.
Next rule is the 48-hour rule, okay? 48-hour rule is essentially, if you're thinking about it 48 hours later, it was probably important. Most of the time, it's just rage-inducing and was there to get your engagement. So there are big life-changing events that you'll be thinking about 48 hours later. And I'm not talking about that I should have said that to that person. That's not the type of 48 hours we're talking about here. It's recognizing what was manufactured outrage versus what was actually a real newsworthy event that affects you.
It's also about space. Part of all this technology is that we're no longer delaying any gratification. And so there is a gratification to, I have a feeling, I can pop off online. That gets you that drug-like hit. So it would be the same if you were talking to me about, gosh, Nikki, I think maybe I have an alcohol problem. I go, all right, well, can you go a month? And they go, no. Okay, can you go a week? No. Can you go 2 days? Okay, well, I can start there and try. It's about creating some space and distance between the feeling that was created and your immediate reaction. So I think not just in terms of online, but in so many different areas of our lives. Like Chris's mother just told us, who we think is online too much, and it's not good for her health, but she's her age and she can do whatever she wants, right? But she's told us she won't even watch a TV show these days unless the entire thing is released, because she doesn't want to wait, and she doesn't like that. Waiting is a very important thing to a human being. It is important, and we need to build this in, because life is taking away normal waiting that used to build in patience and not let us react so much. What's the next one?
Next one is physical boundaries. Very simple. I keep my phone out of my office for the first half of the day until I absolutely need it. I do have to do some work on the phone, like all our social media content. If you're not following this, make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and the other ones.
Despite everything that we're saying.
All this.
Yes.
But I have to post that stuff from my phone, but I make sure I either do it first thing in the morning and then I leave the phone in another room, or I keep it away. It's even as simple as when I get in bed at night, I'm trying to read more, and I put the phone on a dresser that's away from the bed. And then where's my phone? Oh, it's over there. Can't get it till the morning. And that's it. Very simple. Use physical boundaries to remove the ability to check.
And my little tip there that I use is I will go on walks and leave my phone behind. I will go into a store sometimes if I'm running errands and just leave my phone in the car, so that if I'm waiting in line, I go back to that 1980s waiting in line where I could just chat somebody up or just look around and practice some situational awareness instead of putting all of my focus into the drug-like phone device.
Which is the perfect leeway into the final strategy, which is replace, don't just restrict. So when you have that urge to check the feed, to check the phone, find something else to do. That might be chatting up somebody in line. I keep a notebook in my pocket, and when I don't have my phone on me, intentionally, I pull the notebook out and I'll make a note of a thing that I need to do, or I'll check my to-do list, or I'll go through the other little notes that I'd left in there and go, oh, I remember that thing and this thing. There's always something else you could be doing. Just think about how humanity survived for the last 200,000 years without phones. We were perfectly fine. We just found something else to do. It might be as simple as, I'm going to sit here and remember that great time that I had at that party 3 years ago. And you're just going to daydream for a little bit. Daydreaming is an easy way to replace it.
That's such a good point, because permission to daydream is a beautiful self-care. And I think what happens to most people is they worry like it's some kind of sport and just sit with their anxiety, as opposed to giving themselves permission to think about a memory that makes them feel amazing and light and joyous. And the more time and energy and space that we spend with those energies, the more time, energy, and space we spend in those energies. And
That's great.
Don't ever underestimate the power of choice moment to moment, and that you are your own authority figure.
Less rage bait, more daydreaming. All right, on one of our news segments on the show, Dear Internet. Every month, Nikki and I will pull a question from the internet so you don't have to, and we will discuss it and read it on the show. This week's question comes from the relationship section of Reddit. And what do we have today?
Okay. This is a male 25 talking about a female who's 24 years old. He says, my girlfriend's conventionally attractive friend did a loyalty test on me. I'm not sure how to continue with our relationship. I've been dating Becca for 6 months, and after meeting her conventionally attractive, he has that in quotes, friend Sadie at a party, Becca became obsessed with comparing herself to Sadie and constantly questioning whether I was attracted to her friend. Despite my repeated reassurances and suggestions for therapy, nothing helped her insecurity. Then Sadie DM'd me asking to hang out and saying I could do better than Becca. I immediately screenshotted and blocked her. When I showed Becca, she revealed it was all a loyalty test she orchestrated. And now that I passed, she thinks everything is fine. But I'm actually devastated that after 6 months of showing her loyalty, she still needed to test me, and I'm questioning whether I can continue a relationship with someone who has so little faith in me.
Ooh, this is such a tough one. Oh man, I feel for both of them, and I think they're both equally right and equally wrong in this situation, and I can tell you where and how, but I would love to know what you think.
I fully disagree with you.
Okay. So who do you think's in the wrong or who's in the right here?
The female, and if this was my brother, I would tell him to absolutely run.
Sure.
Run from any woman who tests you like this. Because what that is that's a game player, and a game player never plays one game. You will not be able to trust. You will not be able to feel calm. You will not know what's real in your relationship. She gaslit him. She let him be confused. She faked an issue for months and months and months. This person would be a nightmare to have a relationship with. This is the truth.
Okay. So I've been cheated on in the past, and I guess what I'm trying to say is I understand the fear, especially in a new relationship with a new person, of asking yourself, can I trust them? So I recognize that that's probably what she was going through.
But here's what she did. Now, can he trust her?
No, he can't. He absolutely can't. So it's kind of like, I agree with with the thought, but not how it was carried out. So yes, you have a brand new relationship. You can't just immediately trust everyone unconditionally, but the way she went about testing him, I think, was absolutely wrong. But it doesn't hurt to be a little cautious in a new 6-month-old relationship. With him, I think he Well, actually, no, he didn't do anything wrong.
No,
Now that I'm
okay.
really looking at it, he didn't do
Yeah.
anything wrong. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No, he didn't. He didn't. Devastated 6 months. Loyalty test. Yeah. Needed to test me. I'm questioning whether or not I can continue a relationship with someone who has so little faith in me. Okay. That's the one thing that it's like, okay, I think if you're on the third date with somebody, how much do you expect them to trust you?
Well, you can't rush trust.
You can't
you
rush
have
trust.
to let it unfold. And if you start playing games, you've ruined it.
So I do think that this relationship's probably over.
Yep.
But I also
so.
think that he has to recognize that it might be a big ask for somebody to completely trust you after 6 months.
You don't have
That's what I'm trying to get to.
nobody was asked to completely trust somebody after 6 months. That's not required in a relationship.
You're
Trust
right.
develops
Yeah.
and it grows. People need to trust when they feel and see red flags. Not only did she manipulate and play a game, she roped a girlfriend into playing the game for her and with her.
Yeah.
This is at least a pink flag turning very red.
I think it's 100% pink. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
towards
it could be a
gameplay.
very red
And
flag.
if you are a highly sensitive person who wants a solid relationship, sorry, I've been around the block too many times.
Yeah.
It's not going to be with someone who plays games like that and feels entitled to play around with somebody's psyche. I find that to be incredibly cruel, immature, and wrong. And if you're trying to get your needs met by being cruel, immature, and wrong and manipulating, you're probably going to have a
lot of
really hard time. You're going to have a lot of drama in your life because you are the drama.
All right, well, there we go. Sorry, Becca, you lost this dude. Yeah, that's on you. Dude, I don't know what dude's name is, but you're 25. Yeah, you got a lot of time ahead of you.
And lots to learn.
There'll be some more people out there, and I don't know, maybe, probably don't reach out to the friend Sadie at this point. That's definitely, ignore.
Off limits.
Yeah, off limits. Ignore Becca, Sadie, and all of Becca and Sadie's friends.
Well, and this is what I would say to Becca. I hope that you learn how to bring more honesty into your relationships because that's really the foundation of trust building. And to him, I hope that you learn how to not take someone else's insecurity and game playing personally. This means absolutely nothing about you or faith in you. This would have happened to anyone that was dating Becca because Becca thinks this is okay to do. So take care of yourself out there. And I hope you find a really sweet gal that'll be honest, direct, and receive the goodness that you're trying to bring into a relationship.
All right. On our next segment, this is Good for the Soul. So every month, Nikki and I talk about what we're currently engaging in, reading, watching, doing, hobbies that are helping us, benefiting us in some way. And we bring it to you and kind of tell you about it a little bit.
You go first.
Okay. What I'm actually reading right now kind of really aligns with the first topic on our show, rage bait and looking at things online, information manipulation. So I am, for my sci-fi book club that I go to every month that I love, our book this month is 1984 by George Orwell. And I'll tell you, wow, what a book. So I'm not going to do any spoilers. I've never read it before. I've read Animal Farm by George Orwell, which is phenomenal. I'm about 2/3 of the way through this book. And I will tell you, it is a book about a horribly totalitarian dystopian society that controls all information, all access to information of their general population. This book essentially is a blueprint for North Korea. Have you ever seen those documentaries about the level of control that North Korea enacts over its people? You say the wrong thing, the secret police show up. You do the wrong thing, secret police show up. All of the news is run by the government. Everything is manipulated and controlled. That's what the society is in 1984. And it touches on a lot of themes that we talk about on this show a lot. Big one being reality manipulation and gaslighting. So there's so much gaslighting in this book. Essentially, 2 + 2 = 5, that level of gaslighting and making people think things that aren't actually true. They rewrite history. People disappear from history books, and then you're just supposed to go about your day wondering, oh my God, is that person never existed even though I knew them? Nope, that person never existed even though I knew them. They have recording devices inside every person's home with telescreens that basically put Big Brother propaganda into the home and watch people with a camera and a microphone. And this is one of the reasons why we don't have an Amazon Echo in the house, okay? Or one of those. I don't even like the fact that I can be like, hey, phone, tell me the square root of 52. Or, hey, phone, how come beavers build dams? Like, it's helpful, but I kind of hate the fact that I have that.
I don't like the vibe of they're always listening.
Always listening.
Creeps me out.
Yeah.
So watch out, because
yeah.
we can be a spoiler sometimes.
I know. So the book talks a lot about, there's a lot of gaslighting, a lot of manipulation. They isolate people, which is what manipulators do. They tend to put people into smaller and smaller and smaller groups so that you cannot ever find somebody to fight back with. That is one of the tactics that a totalitarian regime in this book does. They also manufacture outrage, which we just talked about earlier in the show. There's some scenes in the book, and no spoilers, but it's on like the first 10 pages, where for 5 minutes a day, they bring down a big telescreen in the workplace and they show you the enemies of the state, and everyone screams and yells at them and gets angry together, and they manufacture a bunch of outrage.
Common enemy.
So 1984.
Highly recommend. All right. And my good for the soul is I caught a little clip online of a lady. She was probably in her late 60s, early 70s. And it was just a little clip, and it made me burst out crying. It was very beautiful. Someone was on the street. It was one of those impromptu on the street little interviews. And she was a hobby photographer. And she was talking about how she had always wanted to get married and have kids, and it didn't happen for her. And so life has really been about her living out this plan B. Like, her plan A didn't happen, and so it has been her plan B. And she was speaking so positively of her plan B that it made me cry. It's making me tear up. Because throughout my career, one of the biggest lessons in being a counselor and being intimately let into people's lives is that we could do everything right in this life. We really could. And we just don't have the control we would like to have. You can't get married if you don't find a person that wants to marry you. If you don't think that they're right enough for you, or like me, you wound up divorced a couple times if you do. There's so many ways that we have to let go of a dream and let ourselves form a new dream, that I've really just been centering on this idea of a plan B. Like, I know I've said publicly on the show, I want a hobby farm. And that for me is sort of like my plan B for not having kids in this life, when my younger self thought I'd have 4 to 6. And I just want people to know that the plan B, or maybe you have a plan C and a plan D, they can be just as beautiful and sometimes maybe even more rewarding than the original plan you had. So I hope that people listening will let themselves, in whatever ways they need, have their plan B and be absolutely thrilled that they get to have a plan B.
Do you think we'd be able to find this video and put a link to it in the comments?
No.
No, you don't know?
Nope.
You can't find it again?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
No.
Doesn't exist. All right.
So thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for listening. Come give us feedback on what it's like to hear Chris's voice on the show. Come to patreon.com. In 2026, I want to host our own book club. We're going to do some polls on Patreon so we can gather some information about what you guys think about that, how you might like to have it structured. So if you're interested in that and participating in the live stream Q&As that we're going to set up, what topics we're going to do throughout 2026, if you want to throw your idea into the ring, now is the time to come finally join the Patreon. Patreon.com/emotionalbadass. Light and love, y'all. I'm an emotional badass. You're an emotional badass. And together, we are where Moxie meets mindful. Till next time, take care of yourselves out there. And we'll see you right here next time for a brand new episode. It might be just me, or it might be
me as well. And the puppy with the cone, who's probably in the shot right now. Yes.
That's right. And we will follow up. We didn't get into it in this episode, but our sweet boy Gusto had a really big health crisis last week. And as we move through the emotions of that, we'll get to a place where we discuss that with you. Light and love. Bye-bye.